Hello. Anybody there? Hello? Anybody there? Can you hear me? Right, well, I'm hoping people can hear me. If you can't, put something in the chat to say you can't. Good, you can. Okay, well, I'm just looking at the odometer on the top left. We've got 20 people, or 20 people now who've joined, so we'll just give it a few more minutes. I suspect after that fantastic performance from Mr. Trigg, we'll have a good follow-on, but I'm not sure that we'll be doing quite so well after this. Anyway, good evening, folks. I'm Mark Baker, and as you can see, I'm one of the many people who've suffered from lockdown beard. But Rich asked me to tell a story this evening, and I decided that perhaps rather than tell a story, I was going to read a poem. And I'm going to read a poem that was made famous by Stanley Holloway. Now, Stanley Holloway was an artist who was a fantastic exponent of his craft. And he did this monologue and made it very famous. And I thought, how hard could it be? So instead, I'm going to do it not just as a monologue, but with props. It's possibly going to be a monotone, and I suspect the timing will be poor. But let's go for it. So, the poem is called The Lion and Albert. I'll try and get my best Lancashire voice on for you. So, there's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. Now Albert was a grand little lad, was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, with a stick with an horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. Well, they didn't think much of the ocean. The waves, they were fiddling and small. There were no wrecks and nobody drowned. In fact, nothing to laugh at all. So seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo, where they'd lions and tigers and camels and all ale and sandwiches too. Well, there was one great lion called Wallace. His nose were all covered in scars. He lay in a somnolent posture, with the side of his face to the bars. Now Albert had heard about lions, how they were ferocious and wild, but to see Wallace lying so peaceful, well, it didn't seem right to the child. So straight away, the brave little fella, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with its horse's head handle and pushed it into the lion's ear. You could see that the lion didn't like it, for giving a kind of a roll, he pulled Albert inside the cage with him and swallowed the little lad whole. Well, then Pa, who had seen the occurrence, didn't know what to do next, said, "Mother, yon lion's ate Albert." And Mother said, "Why, I am vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly when all's said and done, complained to the animal keeper that the lion had eaten their son. Well, the keeper were quite a nice fella. He said, "What a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your boy that he's eaten?" "Of course. Can't you see there's his cap?" The manager had to be sent for. He came and he said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Yon lion's at Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." Then mother said, right, young fella, I think it's a shame and a sin for a lion to go and eat Albert, and after we'd paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse straight away. "How much to settle the matter?" And Pa said, "What do you usually pay?" But mother had turned a bit awkward when she thought where her Albert had gone. She said, "No, someone's got to be summoned." So that was decided upon. Then off they went to the police station in front of the magistrate chap. They told him what happened to Albert and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame. He said the Bottoms would have further sons in their name. At that, mother got proper blazing. "And thank you, sir, kindly," said she. "What, waste our lives raising children to feed bloody lions? Not me." Thank you very much. Well, there we go. Possibly rattled through that a bit faster than I was supposed to, but I hope you enjoyed that. And I'm going to now hand over to the next act up the hill, which is Scott and Flo. But just remember, stay at home, help the NHS, save lives. Bye, folks.